So when Pastor Justin asked me to share a testimony, I started thinking about, I'm gonna have a music playing in the background. I'm gonna have a moment of prayer time, and I'm gonna have PowerPoint set up with pictures and everything, right? And I started writing my testimony, and it was going pages and pages, and then after a while I lost focus. And then God was asking me, who is the audience that you're trying to share? And I was thinking, well, it's for youth, and they're going through high school challenges. I think I should touch upon that, and all that stuff. And God said, who is the audience? I said, what are you asking, God? And He said, the audience should be me. You're sharing because of me. So I don't have everything ready. I thank Pastor Justin for asking me about the Bible verses. I only have Bible verses with me. So I'm standing here to confess what God has been doing in my life. And throughout the week, while I was preparing, God kept on giving me this message, which was Isaiah chapter 43, verse 4 to 5. Since you are precious and honor in my sight, and because I love you, I will give people in exchange for you, nations in exchange for your life. Do not be afraid, for I am with you. I grew up in church. My parents, both Christians, and they practically lived at church, okay? And I practically lived at church too, all my life. And I was a fairly good student, got good grades. I was good with, I was in leadership, all the time, and I was always there to sign up for volunteering, and it was all good. And I was really good at sports, maybe better than some guys out there too. So, I was kind of like a top person, and I actually, graduated in elementary school as a #1 student. So, my life was going like this, I'm gonna be, and everybody who looked at me, they thought of me as, this person's gonna be has all her future shit set up, and, God's always with her, and everything's gonna be great, right? And then in my grade 11 year, all that good mark, suddenly, I felt like God just took away that knowledge. Before, I didn't have to study. I'll just go into class, take some notes, go back, go and then, take the exam, get good grades. I didn't have to study. And I just kind of I felt like I was born with this. I was I'm so good at this, right? And I see all these other people struggling. And I'm thinking, why can't they do it? What's wrong with these guys, right? And then in grade 12, suddenly I felt like God just took away that knowledge from me. And my marks went like this and go, and my marks was just gone. And then by the time when everybody was sharing that, I got accepted to university, and I got, scholarships and stuff like that, I didn't get anything. And so, when I was in that moment, I started complaining to God. God, what are you doing in my life? I've served you all my life. I said I love you, and and I did all this stuff for you, and why didn't you take care of me? Why did you put me in a situation where, people are going to be laughing at me? Am I too loud? Okay. And I was complaining to him, and I was anger just piling up in me. And I know some of you might have that, where you see other people like just going up, excelling up, and you're feeling like you're like down here. And in that moment when I was complaining and crying out to God and saying like, you know, I thought you created this world. I thought you could manage my life. And I started hearing this voice from God. He said, Grace, I'm here with you. But you're not. You rejected me. You left me. And God said, no, I'm here with you. In this tough time, I'm here with you. And he said, you are so precious. And I honor you in my sight. Don't worry about other people. Don't worry about your parents. Don't worry about people. You look at me. I think you're precious. You're valued. You're worthy. And I love you so much. And he said, I will give people in exchange for you. Nations in exchange for your life. So do not be afraid. I am with you. I'll take care of you. And he says in Matthew chapter 6, verse 26, look at the birds in the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? And I said, God, yes, you're right. I am. And he says, because you're broken, I can use you. But God, I'm nothing, I'm nobody. How can you use me? But God said, because you're broken, now I can work through you. All the stuff that you know in your childhood, all the words that you learn, you know, all the good things that you learn about me, now I can use that in your life. Because it's not you who live, it's Jesus Christ who lives in you. I said, yes, that's right. I confess that. Like, you know, I would go to rallies and worship, and I always confess that, you know. And just because things are not going in the directions that you want the way to be, because you planned all this stuff and it didn't work out, because something went bad in your life, does that mean God left you and God's not working with you? No. He loves you and He is with you all the time. And so I started more focusing on building that relationship with God now, like intimate relationship. That I put that first. And Matthew chapter 6, verse 33 and 34. My goal was, but seek first His kingdom and His righteousness, and all of these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. So God is saying, from now on, if you had lived for yourself, I want you to live for me. But for what? By seeking the kingdom of God. By putting God first and by seeking the kingdom of God. So I started, you know, like building that relationship, intimate relationship with God, and you know, reading the Bible and having that quiet time. And my inner self was like becoming so strong. I kind of felt like I could go out to the mission field now. You know, I was telling God that, okay, I'm gonna go out there as a missionary. I think He had called me to you know, spread the gospel, and I was so fired up, right? And I wasn't thinking about marriage, so I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna be living by myself and just worshiping God and putting God first. And then somehow I got involved in a relationship. Okay, this guy did not, and it's not James. This guy came to church, and he was a Christian, and everything looked really good. Somehow we connected, and we started dating. But I started realizing that this person just accepted Christ, okay? and his parents don't believe in Jesus. They're actually Buddhist. But on the outside, it looked perfect. You know, like if I were to marry him, then I would probably have an easy life. You know, like I could probably, yeah. So it kind of looked out like from the outer appearance, it looked pretty good. So started, you know, like putting, you dated him, is thinking that I was going to get married to him, right? But because God was not in the center of our relationship, because God was not, and it was more of a form of, you know, just, well, everybody's getting married, so maybe I should get married kind of thing, right? So maybe if this was the way, and maybe I was supposed to serve this family, to save them, right? To have them to become Christians, right? Maybe I'll set as a missionary there, right? So I have this, you know, heart. But when we were dating, it became a very abusive relationship. And I don't know what kind of relationship you guys are in, but it could be with your parents or with your friends or with your boyfriend and girlfriend. Sometimes you might have an abusive, unhealthy relationship. And that's what I went through. And I started blaming God again. I said, God, you put me here in this relationship. I met somebody at church. Why am I going through this? Okay? And I had such a difficult time, and I couldn't get out of it because while I was dating this this person, the ideas that he had didn't mix with me because I put God first, but the priority was not the same for this person. Success, money, ambition, like this kind of the worldly thing. So when you have somebody constantly telling you these things, that this is the way, even though I have been living as a Christian all my life, you kind of slide like sideways. And that's what happened to me, and I couldn't get out of it. And after a year or so, I started crying to God and said, get me out of this relationship. Because we would fight, and then we would get back together. Because he would be begging to get back, and then we would fight again, get back together, and it was just not healthy because it was getting worse and worse and worse. And you know what? You guys will probably meet somebody like that, and I feel like thinking about it right now, I feel very thankful that I've experienced that because then you can really truly recognize what godly relationship is, right? And so I had to end the relationship really bad way. Because, you know, and going back to the verse, started hearing God telling me that you're precious. Isaiah chapter 43, if we can go back to that verse, God was telling me that you are precious and you're honored. But this person was telling me the opposite way. And God was saying, no, you're my child, you are honored, you're worthy in my sight. And I love you so much. You should not be treated this way. So somehow, you know, I had to call the cops on him. I had to call the police because it was becoming very dangerous. And from then on, I was able to break off from that relationship, although it was very dramatic. But I just felt like God was teaching me. And God said, you know what? Even in this brokenness, I can still use you. So I feel like if I see somebody who has this relationship trouble, you know, that I can pray for them. Now I know, right? And then obviously I met James, and James, I'm going to kind of talk about you because you're my hero. And James actually had nothing on him. He had no car, no money, nothing. But he had Jesus. I felt like I was at peace with him. And if I had not gone through that difficult relationship in my life, I would not recognize this. So if you are going through a suffering right now, whether it be relationship or whether it be your kingdom of God, and all will be given unto you. And obviously, you know my past. My grades weren't that great. I started, taking college, and finally I got transferred to Islamic Fraser University. But still, I was kind of like having a difficult time with my marks and stuff. It just never came back, and I really appreciated that because now I know that knowledge comes from God. Everything comes from God. It's not me. It's not you. Now, if you are smart, that's not coming from you. That's coming from God. God is allowing that. And if you're not smart and you're not getting a grade, don't worry about it. Because even me who was not worthy of His love, He still loves me and He put me where I am right now. So I just said, I'm just going to leave this education and look for a job. No experience, maybe some admin, data entry experience. Put some resume in. Within that week, I got a call. I got a call from, and I did not know this company. I didn't know what kind of company this was, but I got a call from world's top 3 company internationally, well-known company. Hallelujah! Like, why is God giving me this job? It's like, I have nothing, but He put me there, and I started working, and I loved the job. And the job was like, photocopying, like all the stuff that I did at church, at VBS, photocopying, editing, and entering data in, and I work for free at church, right? But now they're paying me, what? Like for all the stuff that I can do, the company's paying me, and I had so much fun, and eventually I became, I was doing all the billings for that department, and I was so good at it. At the 6th month of that company, I was talking to some people, and they said, maybe you should just apply for the head office job and see. I said, okay, I'll just do something similar. I do want to work in downtown because, maybe go shopping or something, right? So I said, okay. So I submit my resume to get a higher position. And within that week, so weird, within that week, the vice president called and said, I want her relocated downtown this week. And my manager was like, do you know the VP, in relationship? And I was like, no, I have no relationship with him. And he's like, well, he wants you to move down right away. I'm like, okay, what's going on, right? So God's been, and I want to go and share Genesis 26, and I know you don't have a slide, but in Genesis chapter 26, it talks about where Isaac, dug a well several times, okay, and it gets taken away by people, but finally Isaac dug his slaves. First he worshipped God. He set an altar, sacrificed, and did the worship. And his slaves dug a well, and in that well there was spring water. So I felt like because I seek God first, because I put God's work first, because sometimes you come to volunteering and you want to maybe, put some credit hours or something, but you know what? I want you to do it with heart, okay? Because VBS, all this stuff, you're putting God's kingdom first. Seek ye kingdom of God, and all these things will be given unto you and added unto you. That is true, because God had revealed in my life. And God's saying, because you put my work first, I will make it happen in your life. And so when I shifted over to the pricing department, I started whatever I did or whatever I touched, boom, boom, just business, just when people told me it's not gonna happen, I don't know, God just moved it and just made it happen, and then we were expanding. A team of 5 became 20, and I was the team leader, supervisor, and an assistant manager. They kept on promoting me, And remember, I don't have a degree. What's going on? God has praise God, hallelujah. God uses broken people who seek God's kingdom first. And you know, when I was going to downtown branch, I had this hard, God, why are you sending me to downtown? I know I love shopping, but why are you sending me to downtown? And he said, I want you to go there and share the gospel. And that's what I did. I had, you know, if I could bring some few people in the morning before I'm going to work to have Bible study, that's what I did. If I have any, you know, sharing of God's message, I try to give it to people and I try to talk to them. If I feel like this person is depressed or not feeling happy, I pray for them, talk to them, I comfort them. That was my ministry. That was my mission field. So I want you to think where you are. At school, whether it be at your work or with your family, that's your mission field. And you gotta put your heart thinking, I need to see God and see them as if, you know, see them through God's eye, see them through godly eyes. And then all the rest will follow. And now I moved to a different company, and even this was just amazing because I did not know where to go. But God was saying, Grace, I want you to focus more with your family. I want you to focus more of your children. I want you to build that heavenly family. And I said, but God, wait! I'm an assistant manager. I'm going to be going up to a manager position. I have a team of 20, and everybody's looking up to me. Like, I'm all set here. I'm just about there. Why would I go anywhere? Top 3 company, it could be top 2nd. Like sometimes, you know, they're doing really well, and I'm right in the center of that. Why would I leave that? Why would I, you know? And God said, God, no. This is more valuable than that. This family of yours is more valuable. You gotta sacrifice it. And I said, what? Okay. So I talked to James. I said, I have a feeling in my heart that I need to be close to home. I can't be going to downtown and spending and coming home at 9 p.m. So I said, okay, I'm just gonna give up everything, put everything down, and let's look for something like a trucking company, just small company, and I could just do easy work, right? And then I started sending out resume, and all of a sudden I get a call from Toronto saying, yeah, I wanna have an interview with you. I said, okay, well, I guess this is like maybe a small trucking company that has, dealing with that. So I said, okay, yeah, sure. And then the interview went so fast. It was like HR meeting, and after HR meeting, there was another supervisor meeting, and then director meeting, and within that week, I had several interviews, and then the boss was flying in from Chicago to see me. I'm like, what's going on? And yeah, so I went to the interview, and they said, oh yeah, and pretty much they were kind of offering the job. Like, am I hired already? And he's like, yeah, let's say you're like the top candidate, out of the most, right? And so when I found out that what job that I got working at CN Rail, actually CN Rail is like number one company in Canada, okay? And going back to when I was in grade 6, I received a vision, and I didn't know that it was a vision at that time. And I want you to think about what God has planted in your life, okay? Because God has already probably given you a heart for something, that what you should be doing, and you're looking at it thinking, I am not going to be doing that. Like, I'm so far away from it. But God's moving in your heart and asking, I'm going to make it great, and I'm going to make something out of you. And back in grade 6, I saw myself flying in the airplanes all the time. And I said, well, that's got to be a very important job. I don't think I'm going to be that person. But I said, okay. And then when I started this job, like, I see myself I'm flying almost like, every other week and pretty much like whenever I want to, literally. Like the company's like, if you gotta go, you gotta go. Like if you wanna go Saskatoon, like this coming week I'm gonna be going to Kentucky, right? And just flying everywhere. And then God kind of rewind my life all the way back to grade 6. And I remember him telling me that story. And I just broke down in tears because, oh my gosh, God actually had a plan. Like he actually planned this out. Like although I had like a roller coaster ride, he actually made it happen. And so I want to encourage you today that whatever you're going through, God uses the brokenness. Whatever suffering you're going through right now, or relationship suffering that you're having, God's going to use it. And God's going to make it great. But what should we do first? Seek the kingdom of heaven. Put God first. And I think it's very important that you guys do it now. I'm going to tell you one more thing before I finish. It's about handling money. Okay? When I was young, it was very easy. When my mom and dad gave me allowance, like $10, $20, right? And it's very easy to say, okay, I'm going to give all of, when you confess to God, I will give everything to you. I will give all the stuff to you, right? It's so easy when it's $10. Yeah, I'm going to give everything. This is all the money I have. $10, I'm going to give it to God. Okay, $20, I'm going to give it to God. $100, maybe. Okay, maybe a little bit. That's way too much. $1,000, I don't know. Maybe just 1% of that, right? But when you start having control, when you start being free from money, when you practice now, okay? And God's going to bless you and use you guys. If you practice now and you are willing to offer Him what you have and give a portion of that, a tithe, 1/10 of that, God's going to expand it. Because a $1, okay, if you're making $100, that's $10. $1,000, that's $100. $10,000, $1,000, $100,000, $10,000. And God can make it happen. Amen? Do you want that in your life? Do you want to give your life to God and make it happen? I want to invite you guys and I want to encourage you guys to do that. He uses only the broken people. If you're perfect, if you have everything set up, I'm sorry. It's going to be pretty difficult for God to use you. Because I'm a testimony for that. God makes the worst in a great way. Let's pray. Father, I stand here in the name of Jesus Christ, Lord, that you are the Savior, you are my life, you are the way and the truth, and there are no other ways in life, Father God. We need to come to you. We need to surrender to you. Father, I know you're talking to some of these kids today, or youth, Father God. I know you have planted seeds in them. I know you have shown visions in their lives. I know that there's some relationship problems, or there's some like a career path not being so clear, like Father God. But Father, you're asking them to put you first. May they put that decision today and follow you. May they put you